Today we're going to be talking about proportions. A proportion is two equal fractions, or you might see it as two equal ratios. Ratios and fractions are the same thing. In a proportion, the cross products are equal. So here they tell you with variables, like algebraically, what that means. If you have the fraction a over b equals c over d, then that means if we multiply across, the c times b is equal to the a times d. So this first example here is asking us to determine if these are proportions or not. So if they're proportions, then their cross products are going to be equal. You might be able to tell just by looking at them, but we're going to prove it with cross products. So let's do 2 times 8 is 16, and 4 times 4 is 16, so this one is a yes, because the cross products are equal. For this one, we're going to do 20 times 22 is 440, and then we're going to do 16 times 27.5, which is 432. So this one is a no. Well, that doesn't make sense, does it? 16 times, just checking on my calculator. Oh, it's also 440. I am not starting this video over. I knew that sounded wrong. All right, so never believe what your calculator tells you. You got to make sure you're putting the numbers in right. This one's also a yes. Hopefully this one's a no. 20 times 40 is 800. And then we'll use the calculator. 35 times 24 is 840. This one's a no because these are not the same. Okay, so now if we know that proportions have equal cross products, then we can find a missing value when we're given two fractions with one missing number. So we're going to do cross products here. We're going to do 15 times 66, and we're going to do 90 times b. We're always going to write the term first that has the variable. We want that on the left. And then on the right, we're going to do the 15 times 66. So I have 90 times b on the left, which we can write as 90b. And then we have 15 times 66 on the right. So if we actually multiply 15 times 66, we get 990. Now thinking back to elementary school and when you learned about one-step equations, we know since b is being multiplied by 90, the opposite is to divide by 90, and whatever you do on the left, you need to do on the right. 90 divided by 90, of course, is just 1, so they cancel out 1b. We can just write b for, and 90 divided by 90 is 11, and that would be the answer. Let's try this one in the middle. We're going to do 9 times n and 3.2 times 36. So we have 9n on the left and 3.2 times 36 on the right. And I'm going to use my calculator to do 3.2 times 36 to give me, that doesn't seem right. Hang on, 3.2 times 36. I think I have like butter fingers today on my calculator. And then we're going to divide both sides by what is being multiplied by n, which is 9. And then 9 divided by 9 is just 1, or 1n, and 115.2 divided by 9 is 12.8, and that would be my answer. And for our last example, same thing, we're doing cross products, and we have 12 times p equals 7.2, I think that said before I wrote over it, times 4. Let me just erase and make sure. Oh yeah, 7.2. Okay. So in my calculator, 7.2 times 4 is 28.8. And I have my 12p on this side of the equation. Since p is being multiplied by 12, the opposite is to divide both sides by 12. And I'm going to get 2.4. So that's how you solve proportions. We can also write proportions and solve them from a word problem. So we have this first one. Jane made 48 cookies. She used 1,104 chocolate chips for all of the cookies. how many chocolate chips are in 5 cookies? So we're comparing cookies and chocolate chips. So I find it helpful to write the words in a fraction first. We're going to compare cookies and chips. It doesn't matter if you compare cookies to chips or chips to cookies, as long as when you set up your proportion, you do it the same for both of your fractions. So a proportion is just 2 equal fractions. In this first case, 48 cookies and 1,104 chocolate chips. So cookies on top, chips on the bottom. And then in the second case, it says how many chocolate chips are in 5 cookies. So we're going to write the 5 on top because that's where we said the cookies are. And we don't know how many chocolate chips. It actually says how many chocolate chips because we don't know. So once we've set it up, we can do cross products. So I'm going to do 48 times x equals 1,104 times 5. So 1,104 times 5 is 5,520. And we're going to divide both sides by 48. And we get that there are 115 chocolate chips in 5 cookies. All right, let's do one last example. There are 18,480 feet in 3.5 miles. How many feet are in 2 miles? So we are comparing, let's compare, again, it doesn't matter if you do miles over feet or feet over miles. I usually just do it the way it appears in the problem. So feet over miles. In the first case here, we have 18,480 feet in 3.5 miles. So I'm going to put the feet on top because that's where I said I'm going to put them when I wrote it right here. And then I'm going to put the miles on the bottom. And then in the second case here, we have how many feet in 2 miles. So I'm going to put my 2 on the bottom because that's where I said I'm going to put the miles, and I don't know how many feet, so I'm going to put the x right there. And then I'm just going to solve. I'm going to do 3.5 times x, and then I'm going to do 18,480 times 2. There's some tension with the pets right now, so if you hear barking, it's because the cats are calling the dogs to see if they're listening. That's what I think they're doing. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. When you multiply these two, you get 36,960. And if you divide both sides by 3.5, that will tell us how many feet are in 2 miles. And I'm using my calculator for this. As long as I'm showing my work, I can use a calculator. And this is how many feet are in 2 miles. Beautiful. Thanks for watching.